okay to start?
Hello everyone, welcome to our next lecture presentation, which will be held about the distributed team in Agile. And please welcome our next speaker, Fernando Colleone.
All right, guys, so my name is Fernando Colleone. I am an Agile practitioner at Red Hat, and today I'm going to talk about distributed Agiles and distributed teams and Agile, and answer in the end of the presentation if it works or not. So for any of you that maybe have not heard of me, you know, it's easy to remember. So that's me. You just remember the Godfather Don Corleone, and this is not an accident, you see? That is not an accident. That's premeditated, you see? So if you remember the Godfather, famous Don Corleone, that's fine. You will remember me. So what do I do at Red Hat, really? I just try to help teams to not only do Agile, but also be Agile. And I try to do that by helping them change their mindset on how they do their work. So basically, that's what I really try to do. So first question here. Who is here that is not from Red Hat? Please raise your hand. Oh, that's great. Okay, cool. All right, so I will start this presentation going a few years back when this was created. Raise your hand if you know what this is or have heard. Okay, cool. All right, so this is the Agile Manifesto that was created back in 2001 by 17 engineers that got together in Utah, in the United States, to talk about problems in the software development. They came up with 4 values and 12 principles. These are the 12 principles that they created within in the Agile Manifesto. And I will focus on this lecture, on this presentation, on this one. The most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. I don't disagree with that. I think face-to-face conversation plays a very big role in communication, in Agile projects being successful, waterfall projects being successful. However, we are in 2018 now, and it's a different scenario. You know, companies have offices in multiple locations around the world, and the talented people that are working in these companies are spread around the world. So right now, having a distributed team is not exception. That's the norm. That's the model that we are using. And to highlight that, I bring you this number. Any idea what this number is? The what? Yeah. What? This is the number of employees in my area from platform and engineering that work remotely now. So almost half of the people in platform engineering are working from somewhere in the world, home offices, so anywhere. And that's, if you think about it, that's pretty awesome to think that you have this flexibility to work anywhere. It's awesome. However, when we talk about distributed teams, it comes with a few challenges. Can you think about a few challenges that you would encounter in having distributed teams? You can think of something, of course.
Time zones.
Time zones, good.
No network connection. No network.
No network connection, good.
Accents.
What?
Accents. Different accents.
Different accents, language.
Information sharing.
Information sharing.
Holidays.
Holidays, it impacts, yes. What else? DEFCON. What else? Cultural differences. Great. All what you said is in my presentation. So it's over. Thank you. No, the first challenge she mentioned, cultural differences. We usually don't pay attention or we don't think as much about cultural differences. All right? So I didn't mention, I'll mention now, I'm from Brazil. One thing that, we know, or at least from conversations I know about Brazilians, is that we tend to be very creative in resolving some problems at work, at home, or whatever. And in some cases, this can be perceived by other cultures that we don't follow process and procedures as much. Okay, so this is something that can happen. Can you think about any other culture difference that would impact very much in a distributed team and even more in Agile? Anything else is a cultural difference that you can think of?
Owner cultures. Some cultures take face value and honor very important. It's very important for certain cultures. And some cultures are very direct, and that might be a mismatch.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. And in some cultures, for example, you also have the hierarchy very strong. Like some Asia Pacific countries, you have the hierarchy where the father tells the son what to do, and the teacher tells the student what to do, the manager tells the employee what to do, and then it might sound like you might have some people that are not as proactivity as in other cultures. So yeah, that's it. Yeah?
So I'm from Sweden, and the Swedish people are very afraid of conflict.
Swedish people are afraid of conflict. Well, that's interesting. And I think that some other people from, I don't know, at least from people I met from Germany, they don't have any problems with conflict. Okay, so you see? You need to talk after. All right, so this is the first challenge that we see when we talk about distributed teams. Agile is the cultural differences. I read an article a few weeks back by Hugo Messer, a Dutch guy who has a lot of experience with distributed teams working in countries in Asia Pacific. And what he comments on is that we have to keep in mind these three things. Awareness. I think that's the first step, is to understand that we will have differences. The second is to openness, is to be able to discuss these differences within the, among the team members. And then empathy, which is basically put yourself in the other people's shoes and accept that there will be differences. Now, the next challenge, coordination and collaboration across time zones. You are all correct. So that's difficult, right? It's not easy because a person in the United States is waking up right now to get ready to start working. People here in Europe might be leaving for the day. A person in Australia might be going to bed, and they are on the same team. So you see how difficult this is? So what we do, usually, we have the tools. So we use the tools to coordinate and to improve the collaboration among the team members. So here, tools, I'm talking Jira, I'm talking Trello, I'm talking wiki pages, I'm talking Google documents. Whatever you have as tools to improve this coordination and collaboration. Another thing is the overlapping hours, as I've seen as said as the golden hours, which is the time that these people from various countries are working. So maybe 1 or 2 hours that they are working, and these most likely will be the times that you are having your stand-ups, you are having your retrospectives, you're having your sprint plannings. So you have to use well the hours that these people are together. If that doesn't happen, you might want to rotate the meeting times so that you are sharing the struggle with everyone. Because usually when a distributed team, someone will wake up very early to join a meeting, or someone will join very late just because of time zones. So one thing that you do is you rotate these meetings to share the struggle with everyone in the team. The third challenge that we have, and I think you didn't mention this, is the lack of personal relationship. So with distributed teams, the team members use it to only participate and be in these meetings, like stand-ups, sprint plannings, retrospectives, and that's it. So we are unable to create that personal relationship that really helps to build that sense of team, all right? And in an Agile team, we want to build that sense of team because as an Agile team, we want to achieve the self-organization. So we have the team that is self-organized, and the team can figure out what to do by their own. So this is very difficult when you don't have a personal relationship. And what happens? And what happens, and what is important to do to improve that? First thing, face-to-face. You mentioned DevConf. Yeah, a lot of people I met here face-to-face. You know, it improves everything. It changes everything. So face-to-face is very important, but it's not always possible. So what do? I put here virtual coffee. And what I want to say by that is the same way that you spend time with your colleague that sits next to you and you go get a coffee and everything, you might think about spending also 5-10 minutes of your time to talk to your colleague that maybe is in Brazil, maybe is in the United States, or maybe is in Russia or whatever. So you spend some time to get to know this person in a more personal level. Again, to build the sense of team, which is very important. I had opportunities, not in my projects at Red Hat per se, but previously to, every meeting that we had, we would use 5-10 minutes in the beginning just to talk about random stuff. Anything that we want to discuss. And it helped to create a more personal thing among the team. Now, the last challenge that I will talk about today, communication. And this is not only related to Agile, it's related to anything. But communication, when we talk about distributed teams, the primary way of communication is what? Email, and sometimes teleconference, and sometimes video conference. What happens is, with these ways of communicating, you are lacking body language. So you are losing a lot of information there. And, you can see the reactions. So you cannot really think, what's the other person feeling about it? So that's very difficult. So to resolve this, what do? DevConf, face-to-face, of course. But again, it's difficult. Face-to-face conversation is important, but it's difficult. We cannot travel every week, every month to I would love to, but we cannot. So, what do we do? If your company has some video, leave your video always on. Show your face. Some people want to don't like to show their faces in video, but show. To see reactions, to see your body language. It's important. It creates a more personal relationship, I would say. To have group messaging, tools, but to have active group messaging tools. That's very important. Mailing lists, Red Hat loves it. Has mailing lists for everything. And in this case, mailing lists, I'm saying, is just to share information, share documentation. And the most important point here when we talk about communication is the last one, document decisions. Because as an Agile team, we have some people that are in the same building together. They might have an ad hoc meeting and go and talk and discuss and, let's decide on this. And they forget that there's a guy there in Brazil that is on the same team. And they don't document decisions. So one way that you should always think about is document your decisions. How? Maybe you can use the mailing list that you have. So decision has been made, you share it. Everyone is aware. So that's another way that you can improve communication in a distributed team. So, the question, does it? Does distributed teams and Agile, does it work? I would say yes. I have to say yes. No, yes, I think it works, but it's very, very difficult. It's not as easy as one might think. So, I think that the key takeaways from here is we will have to understand other cultures. Sooner or later, you will work with a person that is not from your country. So it's good to understand other cultures. When possible, we meet face-to-face. DevConf. Yeah, it's good. The technology is on our side, so we have to use it efficiently. So please, don't hate Jira. Right, Peter? Don't hate Jira. It's there to help us. We need to trust people. We have to trust people even more than we could trust the processes that we have. This is to build the sense of the team. Meetings early, meetings late. If you are in an Agile team that is distributed, sorry, that will happen. Sometimes you have meetings early. Sometimes you have meetings late. So you have to deal with it. And last, just have a virtual coffee with your coworker that is in Brazil or whatever. And I think that's it. If you have any questions, you can send me an email or connect me to LinkedIn. So there are no talks after this, right? Okay, so I think we could use just a couple of questions if you have it. Yeah, she has one.
Somebody would, there are people that they mostly care about services. They're very good in technical stuff, but they don't care so much with relations between teams. So it's like, yeah, come on, finish the meeting, I have work to do. So what would you advise somebody how to handle that thing?
Okay, the question was, some people are too technical and they don't.
Forget about the relations.
They don't. Yeah. So the people are technical and they don't care about the relationship stuff. To me, okay, as an Agile practitioner, I like to understand and observe this kind of behaviors. Of course, it's not for me to impose the relationships, but it's just for me to suggest and to get to get together. And what I've seen from teams is that a lot of the developers are extremely introvert and shy. So just to take one little extra is difficult. So we cannot force it. It's just an observation, and from my perspective as an Agile practitioner, observe the teams, understand how they work, and see what we could do. So these are only really suggestions. A person could take this and, next week I will show my face on the conference, the video conference. And, for me, that would be a result. Another would say this, no, I'm too introvert, I don't want that. So it's pretty much up to everyone that is in the team to really decide. Someone has, okay, here.
How do you teach or distribute this cultural diversity?
I don't think, so the question is, how do we teach? I wouldn't say that we teach. Okay, so the only things is that we can suggest. And, as a Scrum Master, as an Agile practitioner, the key here is to have empathy, which is to observe and understand these different things that everyone has. It's either culture, the way of working. And what I do is just I observe, and I just do some quick suggestions, quick things that the person would change, that I would think it would improve the way that the person does her work. But you're saying no, so yeah.
I'm Bulgarian, so I was saying yes.
Okay, so you're Bulgarian and you're saying yes. Very nice. I didn't know.
I need to teach you.
Of course. But I think it all comes down to, as an Agile practitioner, the first is observation. And working individually with everyone in the team. I have teams that are very, not only distributed, but collocated, are also from different countries. So, and it's very difficult. It's not easy, so it's difficult to get that way, the good way to put all this. So I always go step by step and minor suggestions, and I can see the little differences, which for me I would say is a success. Every suggestion, everything that my team would take it on, I would say it would be success. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So here's in the.
Tying back into the remark from over there, how would you go about this? I'm technically focus-driven situation of 8 cameras off with 10 participants on a call. How would you motivate these people rather than imposing something?
Yeah, the question is, how do you motivate these people for example, the technical teams to leave the videos on, or to appear on the meetings? That was the question. Yeah, and not impose. That's good. I mean, the only way is that you can put some ground rules in the beginning, for, I don't know, daily stand-ups or retrospectives or sprint planning, is that the ground rule is leave the video on. And it's just a basic set of rules, the same way as we have the stand-up. The stand-up, it's 15-minute meeting. We say what we did yesterday, what we're going to do today, problems. So some ground rules. The same with, I would say, with the other meetings with video on, for example. But
A narrow line then.
yeah, just put a line, but it's some ground rules. Some people would be able to show their faces. Some people still would not. But in these cases, you might just, as a Scrum Master, go further and talk to why is that. And he would say, the person would say, I'm extremely shy. I don't want, or I cannot appear and say, so.
In the shower before the meeting, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, my hair is all messed up. Yeah.
Especially when the meeting is very early in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good.
A question as an Agile practitioner. Are you familiar with software cross-machine movement? And do you use the ideas from this movement, which is led, by the way, by another good Brazilian guy? So,
can you repeat the question?
Software craftsmanship movement. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not familiar with that movement.
Okay.
Well, that's a good thing. It's a to-do for me. That's nice. Brazilian, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have the last question.
Yeah. I have the same experience working with lots of shy people around the world on video conferences.
Yeah.
For some companies that impose that everyone need to use video, and it did not work out. So what I did was what you call a virtual coffee. I talk with them on IRC and this kind of stuff, and then we get some relation,
Okay.
and then one-to-one with video, and then the group.
Yeah, and I think what he's saying here, it's a very good strategy. So, as an Agile practitioner, you start a one-on-one conversation with the person on some instantly messaging tool. Then you go to the virtual coffee. You have some time to talk about general stuff. You both are on video. The person can get more comfortable to it, and then might appear in a meeting. So yeah, that's a very good way to do it. Guys,
from your perspective, what is more practically better, like Slack way of channel, or like asynchronous communication, or direct one-to-one face-to-face meeting like this video stuff? What works better?
No, of course, face-to-face works better. And I have an experience with a team that 90% is here in Brno, and we have one guy in Brazil, and the other is in the Czech Republic, but not here, so it's home office. So in this way, for the team here co-located, everything is extremely well developed because they are sitting together, communication is flowing, but the guy in Brazil is just there. So it's difficult for him to understand what's happening. So that's why they have the group messaging tools, and they have mailing lists to document the decisions. But yeah, of course, having people co-located same location would be a lot better. But that's not.
Yeah, but it's also very expensive, right? From time and resource demand perspective. So
yeah, could be.
Actually, from like my experience, asynchronous way of doing things is a solution for distributed teams, right? So when you're doing it in text, and if you have a culture of active communication in text, it actually solves the problem.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Yep. All right, guys. If you have any more questions, just go to LinkedIn, connect to me, or send an email. Thank you very much, and sorry.
A parte dos alemães foi muito